everyone. Now, as I said, we are planning a kind of a new experiment here. So I'm going to present the same slides. And what I've done is, I'm just thinking what will be our Maharishi's thinking if he is coming across Dr. Miomir's slide. Because he has raised plenty of questions on both scientific and also spiritualistic fonts. Our Maharishi is the only person who can speak both spiritual and scientific in the same length. So I just want to think how we can answer from our sky principles. So one of Dr. Miomir's question is, never die, be happy, be young, and also be wise. Obviously, spirituality and our sky yoga is the only answer. We know that our siddhas lived for many centuries, and there are few siddhas who are immortal for ages. And there is a belief some siddhas are still existing as Jiva Samadhi. We know that. They are all living in their causal body, only the physical body is in a stagnant manner. If we die, we don't want to suffer. We want to be healthy till the last day or last hour of our life. And we need to be of good mobility and good health till the last minute. Again, we know our spirituality and Kayakalpa yields this. We know plenty of people, innumerable people, they live till the last day by practicing absolute spirituality. He mentioned that in the past 150 years in Slovenia, the lifespan has increased from 38 to 80 years. We are not bothered about lifespan in spirituality. We are bothered about healthy and functional lifespan. What is the purpose if a person spends his last 5 years or 10 years bedridden or becoming a bit of a burden to the community or the relatives? So we want to be functional, we want to be independent, and if possible, we should be helpful to others till our last day. And the only answer is this Sky Yoga through the spirituality. He discussed about the anti-aging, rejuvenation, plastic surgeries. As he himself mentioned, all these things will make us young only from outside. While if you want to get the inside health, the only way is the Kayakalpa, by which we can strengthen our Sushmana Nadi. I want to quote our Sivavakiyar's Padal, Uritharitha Nadiyil Odungintra Vayuvai. Already our Shanmugaveli sir has quoted that in the morning. So this Nadi, as I was discussing with Dr. Devi a few days before, is something very, very primordial. When the ovum got fertilized by the sperm, the point where that sperm enters the ovum is the Mooladhara, and when the sperm enters and touches the opposite side of the ovum, that is the Sushmana Nadi, or the end is known as Crown Chakra. So this is the first Nadi from which the other Nadis are branching out, and people say we have 108 Nadis or 500 Nadis or 1000 Nadis, etc. But we know the predominant one, 3 Nadis, and of which the central one is the Sushmana Nadi. So, by Kayakalpa, we are strengthening our Sushmana Nadi. By meditation, we are focusing and living that few minutes in our Sushmana Nadi. By staying there, we are entering into our primordial space. By entering the primordial space, it creates an awake restfulness to all other parts, including mind, brain, heart, and rest of the bodies. This awake restfulness is one of the best way of rejuvenating, apoptosis, clearing all the debris, etc. So this is the actual scientific principle behind why we have to meditate, and that too in a proper manner. The same explanation can be given to other forms of meditation like yoga, nidra, etc. Dr. Miomir mentioned they are using the technology to improve the health and the body shape. Say for example, all these new drugs were tested in the laboratories and animals and even on human in clinical trials. But spirituality involves self-testing. Our Maharishi is one of the standing examples for that. to make this Kayakalpa and various Kai simplified exercises in practice, he tested everything on himself. He trialed it, he may have underwent some side effects due to it, and filtered and given us a final solution. It takes 15 years to put a drug into the market, which costs around up to $2 billion US dollars. The same way, our Siddhas have refined and reformed all these technologies over many centuries. But we don't have $2 million to invest. We have only our own soul and our own time and energy to invest in that. New therapies were very expensive and only very few patients can afford them. Very fortunate to have that for our Sky Yoga, there is no investment. Whatever you may be even paying to learn this online or in contact sessions is only to support the organizations. You can see how nicely this organization is developed. And the amount of advantage, longevity, health, immortality you are going to get back is really incomparable to whatever we may have to invest for our own health. We know that pharmacy industry is quite happy to invest and reap profits out of it. While in Sky Yoga, we want to invest in the people to make them healthier. That will be the final outcome. Dr. Miomir mentioned in the developed countries, population is decreasing because in few countries nowadays for the husband and wife, the number of children will be 1. So think for long term, if 2 people producing 1 child and if it goes on for few generations, obviously the population will decrease. And we want the population to be young and healthy, not old and sick. Again, the only answer, as I already alluded, is spirituality. He also mentioned about how to reduce the fear and uncertainty, how we can prevent investments unnecessarily in security measures into the arms and ammunitions, armies, etc. Our Maharishi already thought quite in depth about this Porilla Nallulagam, also known as World's Peace, when he delivered his UN speech. So if that happens, we can say that already our Sky Yoga system is one of the most economical platform to get the best health without much expense, as I explained. And when we have reserve of excess of money saved by creating this World's Peace as per Maharishi's dream, that will be the final solution, and already our India is nicely growing as one of the richest country in the top ladder, and we can easily reach one and help other countries to achieve the same. As Dr. Miomir alluded, Western population is living in a quite material world and they want to understand and get into this transcendence and spiritual world. That's why we got all these eminent scientists visiting us all the way from different countries. But somehow the attention is went on the other methods to relax the body, like for example art or religion or music, literature, painting, etc. I'm not saying they are bad, they are good. They will give you a good kind of relief, but it's only very superficial. And now the music also is become colored into quite a heavy music and metal music, etc. And we know what they are. While our Sky Yoga concentrates on meditation and yoga practices, and this not only will touch the surface, it will give an inside solution, not only preventing disease, it will make even a normal man into a much better human being. How completeness is our Sky Yoga techniques? It has addressed everything head to toe. We have body strengthening exercises for eyes, hands, legs, neuromuscular coordination, etc. Mind strengthening exercises, various meditations, life strengthening exercises like introspection, silence practice, Maunam and Brahmanyanam, and the ultimate practice of Kayakalpa. So you can understand how Maharishi makes sure that he wants to give a complete package. So if somebody is not performing even a part of it, he will still get benefit from others. And he has incorporated the old, very proven techniques like Varma, so that even if you make a mistake in one stage of, say, hand exercises, it will be balanced in the next stage, and ultimately you will get a very ultimate good health. So for Dr. Miomir's question is life science in conflict with religion and can spirituality help? The answer is a big yes. He mentioned that as we know more knowledge, we are less certain that we are finding the ultimate truth and there is always a kind of incompleteness. Say for example in the science, maybe 5 or 10 decades before they found atom. And atom will be like the final stop. But then we found that electrons, protons, neutrons, and then it worked for almost like 2 decades and we thought that will be the final thing. But now we know we have got up quarks, down quarks, gluons, etc. And we think this will be the final, but we don't know what's going to happen in next 2 or 3 decades. But Maharishi's ways of Sky Yoga is quite complete already. We have got very eminent professors and they are working in it for many years. Nobody is able to change even a small step in his teachings. As he mentioned, if somebody is using like smartphones 250 years back, he is considered as quite an abnormal person. But now we know how much the smartphones are occupying our attention knowingly and unknowingly. How much of lifespan we are wasting in the smartphones. The parents were not able to take care of the child. Both of them may be working, so they are ending up seeing the screens mostly when they are eating, so they are not able to enjoy the food. I don't want to spend more time on this because you all know better than me. And the last word about the ethics. There are a lot of ethics which were evolving, especially in the scientific field because of the animal experiments or even in the human experiments. But in spirituality, the ethics is already established. We are doing something quite correct. And Maharishi is a very good example for ethics because he has never introduced any practices directly on a group of people to try. He himself used his body as a vehicle for testing and transformation and correctness, etc. And then only he has exhibited with others. So what more we can say, any better ethical method than this? I've just got some references on ethics in spirituality. We think that ethics is more only for scientific, but it holds good even for the spirituality practices. There are no animal sacrifices in true spirituality practices. I know somebody may be thinking about other religion-based animal practices. There is no practices with vengeance or enmity. Whenever I speak to Dr. Devi, she will just pour her knowledge on me. And the amount of knowledge I learned from her, there is no place for vengeance or enmity between spiritual practitioners. This is my living example. And there is a very good way to say that if somebody is spiritually oriented, there is no need to even check whether they are ethical or not. Either they are following spiritual methods or experimental methods. Because those who are spiritual, as mentioned in one of the talk today morning, they have got that special gene. They have got the special place in the brain which develops further and strengthens as they follow the spiritual practices, which will not allow them not only to do unethical practices, they won't even think about the unethical practices. There are many publications on the ethics and spirituality. And coming to this question, we are trying to prove the God by quite a complex method. This argumentum ornithologicum is a very complex one and it's quite difficult for anybody to understand. But it's a simple thing that we are able to wake up, we are able to run the show. You feel that inner happiness if anybody comes and thanks you that thank you for the teaching, I got this benefit. Thank you for this teaching, I showed it to my daughter and she has performed and it helped her in betterment in the school performance. What more to prove that there is an existence of God in the spiritual practices? And coming to this catastrophe theory, it's quite evident that if you see here, unfortunately the pointer won't work. So there is a way by which a person can go from a low level to a higher equilibrium surface, but on the other end there is always a small stable to unstableness. So a person who is a scientific person, as I said, they found atom is the final one. Then they said no. Electrons and protons and neutrons are the final one. Now they say no. Gluons and quarks are the final one. So that is where that uncertainty happens in the spiritual practice. Various other spiritual practitioners also may have made some mistakes and they may have to preach something quite different to what they have spoken in 5 years, 10 years back. But I heard in Maharishi's own words, he said, he will start speaking about a practice only after he himself understands, conceptuates his cause and effect and side effects, everything. He won't just like that talk. In fact, he was not even preaching or teaching anyone for many years. And only when he is absolutely certain that what he found is something to be for the public, he started preaching or discussing with others. He himself mentioned in one of this presentation. And stars are fading. If we see the stars are fading, it's true. If you are good or interested in the astronomical events, or if you got a good telescope, if you see the stars are going away at a very rapid speed, that's what we call it as redshift. And redshift is the one which makes us to understand that at one point all the stars could be in one place. That is singularity, and that is almost like 13.8 billion years ago. That is the scientific basis of Brahmanyanam, what our Maharishi has taught us. Everything has started from the singularity. If you focus on the singularity, which in spirituality practice we call it a Shivakalam, that will result in the understanding of the life. And that's why in the religious practices, when it's difficult to convince the people, they have made this Brahman, which is a concept, into a human form like Brahman. And they created the belief that Brahman is dreaming and the whole world is a manifestation of the Brahman. So we should get amazed by the amount of clarity our sages and spiritual leaders had. They are quite happy to address a person scientifically. They are quite happy to address a person spiritually if they are not interested in science. They just want to know the Brahman. And if somebody says, I just want to believe, so just get me a good theory so that I can believe and act on it. Again, we have like a godliness and God form of Brahman to help us. So we have various levels. So even if you fall from one level to other level, you will be safeguarded. And it takes maybe another few decades, or even the science may not reach this level of clarity. Thank you very much. I'm happy to stay in the stage, and Miomir will join me in answering any queries we have.
Much for both presentations, which have been really absolutely cool. I think for Europe, which has a lot of problems with their healthcare systems, which are not financing, more or less, because there is a lot of money taken out by pharma industry. Doctors are not paid on the level they should be paid based on their responsibility. So I think your Sky Yoga would fit very well. This key.
Thank you, Marcus. I have few questions for our Principal Jayaprakash Shah, which is from online. So, my friend and also our friend, of course, Dr. Shakti is asking a question. How to seek the equivalence between physical, astral and causal bodies at anatomical, molecular and subatomic quantum levels? As we discussed before, I think Maharishi believes that genetic center may be a point of concordance for all the three levels.
Yes.
May I have your views, sir?
Okay. Be blessed by the divine. So it is an interesting subject. Where is the demarcation of between the physical, astral and causal body? So we need to see the history of it actually. As you said, no, the child bonds, no, the zygote is the basic building block actually, from which the physical body is coming. So it is very clear that no, zygote is the basic on which the physical body is coming. So cell is the basic building block of the physical body. So the zygote here is, there are two bodies will be there. One is the astral body and causal body. And here, this causal body is the imprint, astral body gives the energy actually. So the energy is characterized, it is stored here, then it is building the whole body. So this is a subject, it is in divine science we are teaching it. And as a simple term, cell is a building block for astral body. Life force particle is a building block for astral body. Causal body, biomagnetism, that is formative dust particle is a basic building block. It's a characterized one.
And another question by person Dr. Saminathan is, I think you have already alluded to in the presentation. So if an organ is transferred, Maharishi mentions about the magnetic cord within the body. So how another animal's organ will get incorporated, will it affect the magnetic cord, etc.?
See, when the particular organ for kidney or anything else transferred, it is only a part. The whole is genetic center. So it is not transferred actually. So once we understand this Maharishi's concept of a whole human body, it is only the part, it is genetic center is the main one actually.
Yeah. Even my understanding on this xenotransplantation is, we are just changing a part of the physical body by somebody's like a human transplant, from human transplantation, which we are quite good at, or from animals, which is called as xenotransplantation. And then a person's own astral body is infused into this and absorbs as its own organ. If there is a mismatch in that, that's where the rejection, everything happens. And those who are practicing Sky Yoga, first of all, they should not be in a need to have a transplant. They should be able to have a healthy life. And even if there is a need for the transplant, they will be able to absorb the organ in a much more smoother fashion without the need for like immune deficiency, drugs, etc.
Yeah, I want to draw one analogy here. Saying that it is like a cell phone. So you can change everything, this monitor, switchboard, battery or anything. But if you change the SIM, everything is changed. The soul is like a SIM. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.